Let's now program the first version for the solution using one-dimensional arrays only. Let's assume you don't know about two-dimensional arrays. Okay, under console apps, let me create a new class over here. So new class mileage app over here. All right. And just make sure you choose the main method here. Just make sure it's chosen. And then we're going to say finish. Okay. And later on, we're going to name the version. This should be really version 1A. I want to show you actually two sub versions for version 1 as well. But we'll do the renaming in just a moment. Okay. Let's just now double click on this. Okay. Let's now start programming. Okay. Let's now revisit this table again. I'm going to leave the table distances table on the corner over here so we can refer to it. Basically, this table here, if we didn't know about how to really do matrix properly in Java, but we can still make a working solution by using one-dimensional arrays only. So the best we can do using one-dimensional array is to say every row over here, for example, the row about if the departure city is about Chicago, and then index 0 stores the distance from Chicago to Chicago. Index 1 stores from Chicago to Boston, which is this number. And then index 2 stores from Chicago to New York, which is this number, and etc. And how many arrays do we need? It depends on how many cities you want to handle in the distances table. In this distances table here, we got 7 cities. Each city can both be departure and also destination, right? So that's why 7 by 7. So that means we need 7 rows represented by 7 separate one-dimensional arrays. And that means we need to declare 7 array variables, which is not too big, but you will see the complication as we go along, right? You will see realistically a proper airline company, they wouldn't only support only 7 cities, would they? They will actually support many more cities. In that case, our first solution using separate variables with one-dimensional arrays would just not scale, right? It would not scale properly. So that's not a good solution, but at least we can make it work. All right, let's see how we can do it. So we will start by declaring the 7 arrays corresponding to the 7 rows over here. Let's do the first row, okay? And every row is going to be very similar. Let's have some systematic naming. First of all, what should be the type of the array? Since we only store distances in kilometers, and we don't see any fractional number, any floating point numbers over here, so we can safely assume all the numbers stored will be integers. So we need integer array. So integer array, that's how you define that, right? Nothing new. And then what should be the name over here? We can say maybe since we want to depart from Chicago, and this row over here corresponds to departing from Boston, departing from New York, and etc. So why don't we say from? Let's say from Boston, okay? And then what should be, and the best way to do it, well, you can do instead, you can simply say it will be assigned to new integer array with size 7, and then you can say 0 from Boston, 0 should be assigned to 0, from Boston 1 should be assigned to 983. That's the one particular way to initialize the array. However, I would say initializer expression will be much simpler, right? Why don't we do that one? Okay, let me now type it. So 0, 983, and also 787 and 714. It's a little tedious. We're going to do all the 7. I'll do as quickly as I can. You can do the same as well. Maybe you can do even more quickly than I can. Okay, and then 1375, and then 967, and also 10187, right? That's the first row. And what about second row? It'll be from, oh, actually, you know what? The first row should be from Chicago. I simply got it wrong. Okay, so what I just did was from Chicago. Okay, beg your pardon. And then let's now do from Boston, integer, and then from Boston. Okay, okay, it will be 983 and then 0 214 11202 1763 and then 1723 1842. All right, that's the second row. The third one will be from New York. Okay, so that will be 787 214. We can prettify it in just a moment once we finish all the rows. and then 888, and then 1549, and then 1548, 1627. Integer, okay, from, and then Atlanta. It's going to be 714, 1102, 888, 0, and then 661, and then 781, and also 810. All right, integer, and also from Miami. And then it's going to be 1375, and also 1763, and also 1549, 661, 0, 1426, 1187, right? Integer array, 61, and then that'll be from dollars, and it would be 967, and also 1723, 1548, and also 781, 1426, 0, 239. And then I'm not sure if you observe some properties about this table, at least two. I'll point them out to you in just a moment. Okay, final one from Houston. So that would be 1087, 1842, and then 1627, and then 810. I thought about simply just copy and paste it from my notes so that I don't need to type. But you might be quite mad if you needed to type, but I don't have to type. So that's why I'm typing together with you. Okay, and then 239, and then 0. All right, so that's about all the 7 rows. Okay, you can check the numbers. I believe they're correct, right? Okay, so let's now do the following. Let's do tab. Okay, so why don't we do tab over here just to prettify it so you will look just like the table. Okay, and then let's just put the tab over here all around the comma. Okay, tab, tab, tab. Oh, actually, that one I might need 2 tabs. Okay, let's see. There we go. Okay, and then this one here, 2 tabs, tab, 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 tab. Yeah, it's a bit tedious, but we gotta get it done. I'm sure you can do faster than I do. Tab, 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 tab. There we go. Oh, sorry. There we go. There we go. All right. And if you're picky like me, you can also put these ones to be aligned, right? So I think it's really prettified. Well, at least for the layout, right? You can see there's a table, right? You can see the 2 properties you may have observed. One is you can see diagonal over here, 0. You can see 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Do you know why? Because, for example, from Chicago to itself, of course, it's 0. You don't need to fly. You're already there, right? And also, the table is somehow symmetric. For example, you can see from New York as the departure city to Boston, you got 214. But now, if I want to fly back, let's say return tickets from Boston back to New York, you want to fly from Boston back to New York, it's also 214. So it's symmetric, right? So 214 and 214. So these are the 2 properties that like a healthiness check for the table. All right. So now we got the 7 variables over here, and I would suggest we also need the following constants to also make our life easier later. So let me just define them, and then you'll see how I use them. Let me define constant. Do you still remember how to define constant? So we gotta say, let's say final string, and typically for constant we gotta do all capitals. Let's say Chicago. Right? You can see whenever I refer to Chicago, I really meant Chicago over here, right? Oh, actually, you know what? I really meant to say not string over here. I just confused myself. I meant to say integer, because I need the way we actually since we declare them each row as array, so we want to, whenever we want to index into the array, we really need integer expression. So let's say for this, for Chicago, it's going to be 0, right? You can think about Chicago is going to be colon 0. the serial index. Boston will be 1, New York will be 2, and etc. Right? Let's say that. So I need 7 of them. So integer, Chicago, and then Boston, and then it's going to be 9A3 over here, and final int New York. Right? You can see I put underscore between the capitals. New York will be 7A7. Oh, what I'm doing? 1 and 2 indices, right? Final int, and also Atlanta, and also final int Miami, which will be 4. Final 2 dollars, final int dollars, which will be 5, and the final one, final int Houston, is 6. So we're going to use the constant over here to really refer to the corresponding index into the array, right? For each of the array. For example, if I want to say from Chicago to Atlanta, so I can simply say from Chicago, and then the index I can simply pass Atlanta, which would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 7, 1, 4, right? So that's exactly corresponding to from Chicago to Atlanta, 714. That's kind of the insight, right, about my decision here. Just make your program a little bit easier to manipulate. Okay, so let's now try to program the console application. Okay, and for now, I can just move this table away. If we need it, I'll put it back later. All right, let's now prompt the user for inputs. And remember, to really prompt the user for input, we need scanner, right? So why don't we put a scanner in the very beginning over here, right? If you recall from the previous weeks. Scanner, control space, and then we want to import from Java util, right? Scanner input is new. So now you understand very well about the new keyword, right? Scanner and system.in over here. And then at the end of the app, we also have to actually close the input dot close over here. Okay, let's now see what we want, how we want to prompt the user, right? First of all, we want to ask them about how many cities are in the itinerary. So sysout, how many cities in your itinerary? Yeah, I want to be as close as the app I just demonstrated. All right, and then we can ask the user to enter some integer, right? So we can say integer how many, and we actually have seen this pattern before when we introduced to you the while loop. So you can look up in the previous week's tutorial. Okay, so that's assigned to input.nextInt over here, right? And then once we get how many over there, and we are also going. Oh, remember there was a trick which I mentioned previously. If you're going for the following sequence, you try to read some integer from the user, and then you want to read a string later from them. You must make sure you consume the new line character. Otherwise, you're going to get funny behavior for your console application. You can look up what I said in the previous week. But for now, I'll just remind you. So what I want to say is, I want to say input dot next line. Okay, consume the new line so that later reading a string will be okay. Okay, so it's quite subtle. It's just about the existing issue for the Java library for scanner. Okay. And then we're going to now actually going to initialize an array, right? Because we know that the user eventually they're going to enter this many cities for us to read. Each one of them will be a string. Okay, let me just move this to the middle over here so easy for you to see. Okay, so now we're going to initialize a trip array. Let's say string array. Let's call it trip. So you can see nothing new so far, so I don't need to bother you too much. But if there's anything that's worth mentioning, I'll let you know. Okay, let's say it's going to be a trip. Each one of the elements in the trip will be a city name. So new string. So what should be the size? Well, depending on what the user specifies. So it's completely flexible for our program, right? How many? And then let's now here give a comments over here. So we're going to read CD by CD, read CDs in the trip from the user and store them to the trip array. That's basically what we're going to do. Okay, let's see this. Hopefully this is somehow, if you actually manage to pause the video, or you actually thought about, before watching the current video, you thought about your own solution. Hopefully you're doing something very similar, right? If it's not too late to pause the video right now, since you got some hints already about how we're going to proceed with this. It's always nice for you to do that first yourself before you see my way of solving it. Okay, so now how many times should we prompt the user? Well, how many times? Exactly over here, right? So we say for integer I, loop counter initialized to be 0, I less than how many, right? And also I plus plus. And the value for how many is going to be from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way. Let's say this. If we want to read, let's say 4 CDs, the user say 4. So that means the I over here is going to we're going to get 4 iterations in total, and I value will be 0, 1, 2, 3, and those values can also be used as indices to store into the trip array. That's what we can do. Apparently, I got a typo over here. Okay, let's see this. So let's say this, we can say sys out. For every one of the iteration, we're going to say enter a CD. Okay, and then the user is going to enter some CD. So let's say string CD is assigned to input the next line. And let me remind you again, you can see we read earlier some integer, and also following that, we also try to read some string, like a new line. So this is why you need this extra input the next line to consume the extra character that's actually left over from reading the integer. It's a subtle issue from the scanner methods, right? That's something you just have to remember. All right, let's and then we're gonna store this city here into the trip. So which index should we store into? Just I, right? Is assigned to the city. Okay, nothing difficult, I hope.